Presenting to you
the interactive space for critical and objective open thinking.
Floating in Space with Martian UFO. Produced by Martian UFO Media. The best podcast on air with your hearty host. Catch episodes weekly on Apple and Spotify podcasts.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing all right out there. It's Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. Looks like we have another rainy day out here in Medicine Hat again, so hopefully you all are staying dry and, got something to do inside with your families, friends, loved ones, whatever. Today, I told you guys I was going to be bringing on a huge topic. If you haven't heard about this yet, today we're going to be talking about human microchip implanting and just the whole big scope on that, what's really happening in that world right now, and the fact that it is happening. They're doing tests, they got active chips in people's hands in different countries, and let's just jump right into it. So if you know anything currently about the implants, the microchip implants, I guess if you saw on any type of news network, you would have seen that countries in Europe were the first ones to start testing these, to implement them, and mainly in Sweden and in Britain. And what was happening was technology and factory type companies were offering the option to their employees to be implanted with these microchips. And what it is, it looks like a little rice pill, and it gets put in between that little webby part between your thumb and your index finger. And so let's see what kind of things that you can do with this chip. So the idea, let me tell you first where they're from. These chips are manufactured by a company called Dangerous Things. It's in Seattle based, and they also manufacture and distribute for Vivo Key Technologies, and that's the chip manufacturer itself. And so the CEO of both these companies, his name's Amal Grafstra. It's a hard-ass name to say. He's basically, I guess, the head of this. And what he says, workers typically on the IT side of a business get an implant for personal use. That's how it works. And so the chip, you can use it to open doors without having a company badge or key fob. You can use it at the concession. I guess you can use it to get a POB, buy a bag of chips, to get in and out of your office, things like that. He's saying that the chips are going to start selling around $50, and then it's going to be another $50 for insertion with an affiliated doctor or piercing expert. And I mean, let's just stop for a second, man, because this is wild, crazy. The idea of even talking about implants being put into human beings in your hand, and really the bigger picture about that is they're trying to combine human beings with machines, basically. This guy Grasser thinks that the implanted chips could potentially eliminate all sorts of lost productivity from lost key badges, but I mean, that's just basic functionalities, right? If you look into what RFID technology actually is, let me find that for you. Which the RFIDs are manufactured by a company called Zebra Technologies, so you can look them up too. RFID stands for radio frequency identification. The acronym refers to small electronic devices that consist of a small chip and antenna. I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, there's no like, it's not live. It's not like a live battery. Basically, it only turns on when it's coming by any antenna, any one of the receptors. Let's see again. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I should have prepared some more stuff for this. So, microchip implants are essentially cylindrical barcodes that, when scanned, transmit a unique signal through a layer of skin, mostly that have been used to organize products or warehouses or identify livestock and stray pets. So imagine, they say now there has been some human experimentation. So this is 2019, they were doing this, experimenting, and now they're putting them into company workers. And it says here, from Sweden, from Britain, the chips were actually also shipped to Spain, France, Germany, Japan, and China so far. So anybody there, I guess, can see if this starts happening around them. Pay attention. Where I first found this for myself, I was reading an article about the U.S. and where 7 states have banned mandatory microchipping of humans. So these states, starting with Indiana and then going into Tennessee, Iowa, New Jersey, Wisconsin. Well, is anybody else on there? No. So these states basically, they're passing laws that bans the forced implanting of human workers, because you can imagine what would happen if, say, you're a factory worker, you're an IT worker, everything that you have, including your ID, your driver's license, your company ID, your keys, I guess, right? Because now you open doors with your hand. Your cell number, basically anything that anybody needs to know about you. I mean, your social insurance, I guess, right? Like, they want to know how common this is, how much it's happening in other states. What they're doing is offering it to their employees as an optional kind of thing, right? And what some of the lawmakers are scared about is, imagine suddenly you have an issue with your company, your employer, or you have an issue with one of your bosses or one of the employees. Suddenly they turn off certain functionalities in your chip, and you can't function. You can't enter certain doors anymore. You can't buy certain snacks, or you can't even be in on certain meetings, things like this. Like, imagine the type of control they can have in the application. Let's see. This should definitely scare people. And there's just so much information here, guys, I'm trying to go through. Kind of read to you, just trying to tell you what's really happening. And the fact that this has been going on for a couple of years, right? Testing the chips, manufacturing the chips, and seeing if they work, right? Like, let's read this. There's currently a petition right now on change.org. You can look it up. It's stop the human implementation of RFID chips in people, basically. And this guy, so this isn't really like corroborated information or anything like that, but he's basically going on his own opinion of what's happening. He's saying that the UN and the US are trying to implement a law that requires everyone worldwide to be implemented with an RFID microchip. Trying to package it as a good thing for us, saying that it will make life easier, reduce crime, right? So they're going to be watching you. They're going to be looking at your criminal history if you got a record. And I told somebody else about this. I was having a conversation where I told some of my friends that in China right now, they're testing, when Google Glasses came out a couple years ago, I can't remember when Google Glasses came out, but what Google Glass can do is it's like an AR type glasses, right? You wear them and then you see certain things. So how they're applicating these glasses now in China is the police officers are using them. They're putting officers on the street in which they walk around all day and they scan everybody. So they're looking, they can see where you were at 2 hours ago. Apparently, they can look at your schedule for the day. They can look at all your criminal history. If you have a warrant for your arrest, any criminal record, obviously. They can find anything, where you work, your family members, where you live. So, I mean, if you ever wanted to have any of that information private, it's there might be a world where that doesn't really happen anymore. I'm not sure. So, as I keep reading, this guy believes, that the chip is another form of government control. And I mean, it sounds kind of crazy. He says New World Order, this kind of stuff. I don't really think it's that, like, we're to that point yet. But, when I ask people, when I talk to people about it, we have the conversation. I know for myself, I'm not going to be chipped. And they usually say that they're not going to be chipped. Imagine, having to choose between if your children are going to be chipped or not. And this is really I'm going to give you my worst case scenario conception. Like, imagine your birth certificate, right? Or your Canadian citizenship card for people who are immigrants or trying to become permanent residents. This is the only form of identification that really says that you're alive, that you actually exist. And if they want to phase 2 human chip implants to basically hold your identity, your documents, your everyday life, banking, everything. Imagine a world where you could lose your certificate, or imagine a world where they say that this piece of paper is no longer valid for your life, to prove that you lived, that you were born. If you don't have a chip in your hand, if you start having babies and you're not getting them chipped, you expect to get a birth certificate from the hospital. It might be an illegitimate birth. You're going to be walking around with the illegal babies, potentially. I'm not sure, but, they got the one child law in China. You got to jump through hoops in China to have a kid. You got to get a certificate for that. You have to apparently do classes. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. And I mean, if they're making it that hard, everything seems to be happening in China. China is the place, I guess, where it's the testing ground, right? Coronavirus came from China. The Google Glasses, they're using them in China. Yeah, man, I'd be looking at China a little bit, seeing what's happening. I'd be opening your eyes, really. Like, I don't know. So he says social security cards, birth certificates, yes. ID cards, driver's license, credit, debit cards, bank accounts, anything. And anytime that the government doesn't want, imagine them just turning off your chip completely. You refuse to be implanted with the chip. The government will deactivate your chip. This guy says you'll have nothing. No security number, no birth certificate, no money, nothing. And people think that this is outlandish. This is crazy. Don't imagine this happening. Let me go down here. Let me show you what they're thinking is going to be possible. And pretty soon, actually, 2023, there's a question about, will mobile phone implants really be a thing? And here, if you go on to CNET, you can find the article. This was in 2016. Experts were saying that embeddable phones or devices that are implanted in the body that use wireless technology could be commercially available by 2023. We're 3 years out. They're manufacturing the iPhone 12 right now. You think they're gonna go to like fucking iPhone 40 or? I don't think so. I don't know. Oh man. You got the kind of questions or, can I put a chip in my kid? I think, will you have to put a chip in your kid? Here are the 7 states that are not allowing this to happen. So it says employers are banned from requiring device implants in Arkansas, California, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Utah, and Wisconsin. And as far as I know, this is all like, US data. I don't know anything about this happening in Canada, if they even have laws in place to prevent against it. If you start seeing commercials for, chips and things like this, if, we have anything in place that makes it voluntary, or, they start saying like, all future births, you're gonna have to chip your kid. Like, what are you gonna do for people who have kids? Now, I'm not trying to make people scared or anything like this, but just like your preparation plan, your plan for the future, because things are changing quick. I was with some guys last night eating and talking about certain changes that are going to be happening in the next couple of years, like embeddable phones. Could you imagine having your phone in your body? Like, are you okay with that? In your brain, potentially? They got the cost for it already. People who have pets know that putting a chip in your cat or your dog so you don't lose it, anywhere from like $50 to $100 now, or maybe more. I don't know, the cost probably went up, but in 2004, the FDA approved computer chips for humans. In 2004, and we're in 2020, 16 years ago. You don't think they're ready to do this, man? The cost would be $150 to $200 per person. Think about all these homeless people that are out on the streets. You think they have their documents on them, birth certificates? Like, they're going to be phased out. You don't think that this will pretty much render them non-existent if they can't go and afford a $150 to $200 chip in your hand? And then you got the people that I'm going to refuse one. So that's what I'm saying, right? I don't know what kind of plan I'm going to have, what the future is going to look like, but you got to be ready. Like, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy time that we live in, because another thing that we can talk about, in which when I was talking about the RFID specifically, that right now RFID theft happens. For sure it happens. And I know that I had to worry about it because when I go shopping and I'm buying shit for my brothers and whatnot, I'll get them wallets and things like this. I only buy the RFID protected wallets because you know how many people get their credit ID stolen and identity stolen and all this kind of stuff just from a person who knows how to hack, has a phone. They're walking by you on the streets, like a busy city center, and suddenly they have your identity. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody needs to have an RFID wallet. If you're listening to this right now, go buy an RFID wallet. So let's see. So I don't know why an article would come out in 2017 and say that you don't need RFID protection because there is no RFID crime. That means that really, if there's no crime, they don't have a law in place yet. Like, that could be, they could call it fraud and things like this, but to steal your information through an RFID enabled antenna, through your chip or through your just having your cards in your wallet or your phone or things like this, how can you really protect yourself? And then there's a person that does it. How can you find them? Do they suffer a crime? If there's no crime, then there's no punishment, right? Like, RFID blocking wallets, sleeves, and other products offer protection against RFID skimming. All right, that's what it's called. The problem, isn't that these products don't work. It's that there's a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist in the real world. Not yet. I think it's about to. When they say real world, I think they're talking about physical world. And now, trying to put chips into people, you're basically gearing people up to have their whole identities, your whole name, everything stolen in seconds and then gone. And then somebody can go and imagine what kind of things they can do. If not just stealing your money, they can pose as you and they're committing crimes in your name. Like, here's somebody asked, is RFID theft real? We got, so they know what it is. They've written numerous articles about it. And it is known as, it's been recognized as a form of identity theft, but there's no laws around it currently, unless you can find some, I don't know. So the radio frequency identification technology itself was actually available since the 1920s. I don't know if you guys will care, but Charles Watson, it says, was the first person to actually have a patent for it. So, they were working on this years ago. And, yeah, I guess the only reason that I'm talking about it is for people who don't know, for people who want to know, who might hear it here and there, people talking about it and thinking, oh, that's another conspiracy, that's, fake news. Well, not really. I don't know. So let me show you. This is, for starters, RFID technology is a method of wirelessly, digitally identifying objects. So identifying you as a digital object, you know what I'm saying? And when I was saying before that, it's not live like a battery, it doesn't require an internal power source. So they put this non-live chip inside of your body and between the webbing of your hand right there. And the only times that it actually has any power going through it is when there are antennas. And I mean, there's antennas everywhere, right? It says here, there are tags in just about every single place that you can go to. And you know that that's true because you walk into a Starbucks, they got the little tag, you can scan it so that you can get deals on their app. Any place that you walk into now, mostly like restaurants, coffee shops, things like this, they got the tags. You know what it looks like? A little square, that's the tag. And it activates the chip, which then transmits its digital identification code, which is now in the future going to be your digital identification code. That's how they're going to identify you. No more social insurance, no more ID card, the picture on your ID. I don't know. I mean, about 10 billion tags were used around the world in 2018 alone, and they keep adding more. And they say retailers, especially clothing stores. And that's true too, because if you go into the mall, you go into a Blue Notes, a Boathouse, West 49, anything like that, and you can scan your phone on that little square box, and the website will come up with deals or things like this, little cool stuff. But now that's going to be you. I don't know how they're going to do this, but it's messed up. Many domestic pets are microchipped with RFID, encoding information that helps them reunite with their owners if they get lost. So, yeah, if you ever get lost from your family members, they can find you with your chip. Some humans have also chosen to microchip themselves so their bodies can wirelessly communicate with identification systems, and that's where the evangelicals get upset. So, yeah, I'm gonna read something here for you guys. I don't know what you're gonna think of this. And this is by no means a religious podcast or anything like that, but I found this to be interesting. I was reading it, and just to make the connection between why this is happening, because if you look at the evangelicals, that could be another topic for a different podcast. They are one of the most powerful groups in all of America, and a lot of the people who are evangelicals are in politics, or are members of powerful companies. But yeah, let me read this for you. This is about the mark of the beast. So it asks, what does a chip implant have to do with the Bible? Believers see echoes of RFID chips in a short passage in the book of Revelation. And this is, quote, "The beast causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the name or the mark of the beast or the number of his name." So RFID chips, they're not literally saying, but they're worried about this because they're saying, so the passage is the origin of beliefs around what would eventually become known as the mark of the beast, a way to identify those who worship the Antichrist. Yeah, that's, let me read some more. So this person's research, not my research, says that he made the connection for two main reasons. First, when biohackers chip themselves, they typically put the chip into the palm of one hand because it's easy to wave data sensors to open doors or process payments. So yeah, people who actually want it, think about and be wary of the people who actually want the chip in their hand. Because if they know how to use it, if they know how to work on it, make it live when they want, things like this, and they start walking around. You don't even have to, you could be anybody walking on the street with a smile on your face, looking whatever. You got your hands in your pocket, you know, and you're just taking everybody's info. You go for a walk an hour downtown and you can imagine, man, like, I don't know. And the scripture specifically mentions the mark on a person's head, or hand. In addition, some people have injected RFID chips containing credit card payment information, which calls to mind the payment methods mentioned in the Bible. No one will be able to buy or sell. So you need something, can't buy. You need to sell something, can't sell. Can't make money, can't feed yourself, can't feed your family. Can't go to the store to get products for your family, get food. Can't operate your vehicle. Maybe your vehicle might be operated by chip. You know, you need your hand chip implant to even unlock the door, you know. These links spread in some evangelical communities throughout the 2000s, with many articles published on religious sites about RFID. The authors of a best-selling book about RFID and surveillance called Spy Chips, I think that's the book. I think I'm going to read that. Published an alternative version targeted at evangelical Christians that included added passages about the book of Revelation. So people are talking about it, it looks like. Yeah, these people are, I mean, I don't know, man, the whole topic is crazy. They believe that these companies and everybody at the top, they're using these employees to do the dirty work for Satan himself. That's a quote, as they said. And I think, I mean, yeah, man, I don't know, it's just dabbling in some deep stuff here. And so the last question says, does it really matter? I mean, I don't know. Does it really matter to you? Right? I think it matters to me in the sense that I'm not going to start acting like, oh shit, this is happening tomorrow and things like that. But I would just be aware, man. Be wary. Start looking into more information. Start preparing yourself for the next 2 to 5 years and what the world might look like. I'm really interested to see, honestly, if they put mobile implants in people, because what's the use of that? I mean, 5G is coming out this year and so many things are rolling out. You know, technology is changing every single day. The world is changing every single day, like I said yesterday. And so just preparation. And yeah, man, that's, I think that's it. Hey again, guys. I'm back again. I realized I started talking about the mobile implants for 2023, and I wanted to dive in a little bit more into that with you, with some specifics and a little bit more comprehension, hopefully. So yeah, just bear with me here. All right, so specifically, I think some of you might have heard about this, but I'm bringing to you Neurolink. Neurolink is a startup, super secretive startup apparently, started by Elon Musk in 2017. And since we were talking about the brain implants, his startup company is currently the one that is working on putting a brain chip implant in a person's brain that can connect to the internet and things like this by this year. He wants to do the first one. So I'm gonna give you specific facts here. It says that Neuralink has 3 stated goals: treating brain disorders, helping people who had accidents, creating a brain-machine interface, basically linking your brain with the machine, then connecting you to the internet, basically. And then building towards a potential symbiosis with artificial intelligence. So connecting us with artificial intelligence. I mean, I'm just taking pauses here because I'm surprised, and I'm like, can't even comprehend really that this is something that is actually happening, that we're talking about this. You know, we're going to be integrating our brains with machine. The first of these goals is the most realistic in the short term. So he has long-term goals. Says Neurolink is early in its stages, despite having already received a vast sum in startup capital, 100 million from Elon himself, and then a couple more million, 58 specifically from some investments. So his whole idea, basically why he wants to do it, you know, he's saying that if you know somebody who's broken their neck, broken the spine, we can solve that problem with the chip. He says that. You know, he's talking about different neurological problems, fixing complex problems, basically things that the brain can't do by itself, he wants to do with the chip. And really, he's suggesting, first of all, that there are complex issues with the brain. So I guess he's talking about dementia, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, things like this, which, you know, on one side, fixing these things is amazing, right? Being able to fix them for good, conclusively with the chip. And suddenly you could go into these, I mean, think about not having the need for old folks homes anymore. Think about people actually living fuller lives until their older years, and you know, just many applications for that. But then think about the other side. I guess, would this be voluntary? Would somebody be able to decide, well, you know, I want to take the chance to fix my brain, or I think, yeah, there's issues with my brain, I want this chip. I don't know. Says, you know, it's not just a measure of computerizing your brain. I mean, even talking about computerizing your brain, is that feasible to you guys? Does that make sense? Is that something you can see yourself, you know, being comfortable with in the next couple of years? Not the future, this is the next couple of years. He wants to do the first testing this year, and then who knows when human trials could start, you know? It says the moonshot stuff isn't anywhere close to ready yet. He made a joke about how, you guys know the Terminator movies, saying that he was like way far off from, you know, the Skynet-esque stuff, the concept of plugging everyone's brain into the internet. But if it's supposed to be always striving for more, always, you know, doing better, technology getting better, faster, stronger, us essentially evolving, what's the next point going to be, right? When is it going to be a Skynet-esque type concept? Like, he says it'll take a long time and you'll see it coming. You know, another concept I want to talk about, I want to throw out two words, you know, mind control and next, mind reading. These two concepts, because, you know, when you talk about the chip being in your brain with mind control, you don't know who controls it. You know, your connection to the internet could be, you know, messed up, severed at any time. You know, you think about when the internet goes down, is that suddenly like your brain suddenly has to shut down, you know, or the connection gets turned off. Is that brain death? Is that real death? Like, this is crazy. He says getting FDA approvals for devices of any kind is difficult. And I wonder how he's going to get it approved, because if he does, people should definitely be worried, right? Like, whether it's going to be voluntary or not. Think about the people who choose, or the people who do have chips in their brains, and then suddenly they can control a number of people who don't know. You know, you can turn the mind control aspect on and off, and then the person doesn't know when it's off, that they're being controlled, and they can do anything you want when it is on, right? And then again, talking about hackers and talking about people who know how to use this technology and the type of temperament that, you know, this person would have, whether they're a good person, a bad person, you know, it's, I just think it's crazy, man. I think it's crazy. The end goal for Neuralink goes beyond brain-machine interface. So I'm telling you, like, the goals are always higher goals, bigger goals. You know, there's an end goal in sight, but then beyond that one, there's another end goal. Musk wants nothing less than a sort of symbiosis with artificial intelligence. I mean, I'm looking at a picture of this dude. This motherfucker looks crazy. I'm not gonna lie, man. He wants to solve neurological issues, but what do other people besides him who look at this technology and say, okay, well, Musk is doing the work for me, and when it's done, I'm just gonna take some of this and I'm gonna, you know, his biggest worry apparently is that AI will outright surpass human intelligence and that we will be left behind as a species. But if our species can create a high bandwidth, brain-machine interface, then we might stand a chance of keeping up. The fact that he says stand a chance of keeping up means that he really thinks that people are going to be left behind, that, like, you know, the smartest man with the smartest brains without machine interface cannot even compete against AI. So that really tells you what you're supposed to fear about AI. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. If you want more details on that, you can go onto YouTube and type in the Neurolink launch event, and he goes into specific facts. They went into the deep details apparently at this event, and I'm just going to find a little bit more information. But yeah, man, just the fact that this is happening, and I'll tell you, they show you what the implant looks like. It looks like a little C-shaped, kind of P-shaped implant that goes in behind your ear, and then it has electrodes and wires that run into, looks like the center of your brain. There's 4 of them. Yeah, it looks like a lot, man. It looks like a lot. Yeah, he says it's going to be important at civilization level scale. Even in a benign AI scenario, we will be left behind. So I listened to a podcast about AI with Neil Sahota. He's basically, he's running the whatever you want to call it, the lead up for AI. He just signed up with the UN and partnered with them to help run their sustainable development goals. And I mentioned that in the last podcast. And AI is a part of it for sure. And if you want to know anything about that, you can go on to the podcast app on your phone and listen to Hot Boxing. That's Mike Tyson's podcast. I listen to it a lot. And yeah, they interviewed Neil Sahota, who really, when you listen to him speak, you can't really discern whether he, because he's moving ahead full speed. He really sees no, it's going to be an AI world, no problem. And so they ask him, you know, like, is this AI going to be good, bad? And he says everything is based on what you teach the AI to do. A person could teach the AI to be good and could teach the AI to be bad. And really, it almost is like he doesn't care. I mean, it's like he has a plan and he's already like, he's going to be holed up in some cave or something somewhere. He's going to be safe. And basically he's saying that anything can happen. You know, he's not trying to scare people, but anything could happen with this AI. You could teach it to be bad, teach it to be good. He was saying that some university, they ran a test. They made some AI robot or something like that. And in an hour, they let it talk and integrate with people on the internet. And in an hour, people taught it to be racist. So yeah, man, just imagine, man, like, this is the kind of stuff that just makes you want to stay inside at home and you know, imagine they start selling robots. I mean, you know, this nice friendly robot in your house and he's AI. But yeah, man, this is crazy. With the high bandwidth brain machine interface, we can go along for the ride and have the option of merging with AI. So what's the other option, right? This is just crazy stuff, man. Just trying to make you guys aware. He is seeking to get FDA approval, so it's not like this is unfathomable, not like it's impossible. He's looking at getting making the procedure as easy as laser eye surgery. So they want to use a laser in the future to implant this. So meaning that you probably won't be put under. You know, you just go in quick into a doctor's office. They take this laser, slice in behind your ear, boom, put it in, and there you go, you got that implant. Yeah, this article is saying like it's unclear how realistic and how long of a timeline. I don't think that long, honestly, in my estimation. I really don't think that long. Really don't. It'll take to achieve this miraculous. Do you guys think it's miraculous? Tell me. Invention, but with Musk's track record, there seems to be nothing he won't try. He's trying everything, and he has no shortage of money, man. Like, so in this world, they can do anything. Let me see if there's anything else, any more factual stuff I can tell you. But just, Neuralink. So if you're thinking about the chip implants in the hand, and then you got Neuralink in the brain. So if you have both of those two together, what are you now? Are you a robot or are you a human? He promises to have the Neuralink brain chip in a human by this year, before the end of the year. And it's interesting that this coronavirus stuff and everything that we had with the slowdown of commerce and the economy basically just dying in a lot of countries, the border shutdowns, and the what do I want to call it, the extreme pressure that they felt with the postal service and just getting products around. It's interesting that he was able to keep running through with this technology, and no shortages for him. There was no he didn't experience any time constraints or anything like this. And the stuff is still happening, right? People are still suffering worldwide in terms of economy, health-wise, everything like that, in terms of coronavirus. But let's see. So they had something already. This was what the old brain implant was before he started making his. It was called Utah Array. This is what they put in the brain. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future, but Utah Array, which is already in some humans, he says, has severe drawbacks. And so what he's making is supposed to be the next best thing with no drawbacks. It says Utah Array is an existing interface designed to record neural activity in the brain. Can't connect to the internet, but he wants his to. So that tells you, what he's thinking. If the arrival of the first test on the human brain is encouraging, the road is long until the actual implementation of Neuralink. I think Neuralink is just another good name for Skynet. And if that doesn't scare you, then I guess you're ready to be a robot. But man, I guess take care. And everybody enjoy your day. And keep looking into this stuff. Keep being aware. Enjoy your life and whatnot. Enjoy the things that you enjoy. But, understand that there's things happening around you. Sometimes maybe even in front of you, and you may not know it. And I guess, when I was talking about the Unsmoke, they were saying, get ahead of the change, right? And you'll be much better prepared and things like this. So if you can find a way to do that, we'll see what happens. And there wasn't going to be no medicine. You didn't think I was going to have some medicine on this, right? Peace, man. I've been talking too much.